I'm here today with Tuomas of Amberian to talk about Take a Chance, a metal tribute to Abba, out December 2nd on Napalm Records, a record that I had an absolute blast listening to. How are you doing today?
Doing fine, thanks. Nice to be here.
Well, thank you for taking the time. I want to start off by asking you this question. At what point in time or when did you think that, you know what, we have enough material, we can make some new material, but it's time for us to release an all covers Abba record?
I think the whole thing started in 2018 when we were touring in Europe with Lacuna Coil, and we started to play this one Abba song live on stage. It was Lay or You Love on Me, and people really seems to they love it, and we got really great response from audience. And then we recorded for the album. It was on the Looking for You album. So, and also after releasing the album, we also got a lot of contacts from fans and from media even, that why don't you make more Abba covers? And even a record label told us, why don't you make whole Abba cover album? So eventually we just decided to do it because it was really fun recording the first one. So we just started to make the whole album, and here we are with a full album.
When it comes to creating or taking an Abba song and then converting that song into what will become an Amberian Dawn song, how do you deconstruct a track and then reconstruct it as your own?
I haven't done it so much before. This was almost first time for me doing these cover songs, except the one we did a couple of years ago. But I think the main thing is to keep the vocal lines original. So because, for example, with Abba music, you really cannot change the lyrics and vocal parts at all. So they are kind of locked there. You cannot change them. Then you have to think about the whole arrangement, what kind of keyboard style you want to use, what kind of guitar riffs you want to make, drum sounds. And I think the arrangement work is quite same when I'm doing my own music. So only thing what's locked there is the melody and lyrics. But it's not easy. Many people have asked, is it easier to make cover songs? I think it's not easier. It might be even harder, because despite you have the vocal melodies done already, you still have a lot of other work to do. You have to make the arrangements just perfect, because when you are doing cover songs of your own idol, the music you like very much, you don't want to ruin it, you know. It's just have to be perfect, and you have to work even harder so that you don't ruin the music.
So was there a song on this record that was perhaps a little bit more difficult or challenging than all others?
Yes, there was. The Day Before You Came was really challenging for me as keyboardist. And I almost got obsessed about the whole thing. I wanted to achieve the same kind of magical feeling which is on the original album. And I used hundreds and hundreds of hours working with just the synthesizer sounds. So that was really hard for me. But it was also fun. It was fun and hard at the same time. So I'm also really happy with the results. I think the song came out really nicely, and there's something of our own and also something of original, kind of nice combination of original and our own. But the vocal parts was really easy because Capri was able to sing all of those songs really easily.
Yeah, she nails every track on this album, that's for sure. And speaking of the tracks on this album, you have 11 songs, No Dancing Queen, which I was actually happy not to see there, because I feel like it's a song that so many people have covered. It just feels like a little bit redundant. But what was the decision process for you guys to pick these songs and not some other tracks?
Well, I made the selection, and first I went through all the Abba catalog, it was a huge job, maybe 40 or 50 songs which they made. I went all the songs through and listened to those really carefully, and I was thinking all the time which songs might work as own versions. Then I just selected the songs and I started to make the first demos at my home studio. And after the first round, I needed to change some songs because, for example, some song I thought which this has to be just perfect with us, and it didn't work at all. So I had to make a couple of corrections to the selections. But eventually, I also wanted to include some of my own favorite songs, and not just big hits. So there are songs like Head Over Heels and Today Before You Came, which are my own favorites. And also, many people knows the happy side of Abba music, all the happy, uplifting songs, big hits. But there's also the other side of Abba music, the more dramatic side, sad side. And I wanted to also bring this side in front, because not all the people knows those songs. And that's why the album is kind of a combination of big hits and some of my own favorite songs.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it really interesting. And like I said, that's why I was happy not to see Dancing Queen there. But was Fernando one of those songs that you guys worked on, but it didn't quite work out?
No, that wasn't included at all.
You're not a fan of that song?
No. There's also very many songs which are great. For example, Eagle, which I think it's one of their best songs. But somehow I didn't get it work. I couldn't make it work, so I just had to let it go. Because, like I say, I don't want to ruin the song by doing a bad version. It just has to be perfect in every way. And that was also part of the process, that the songs just had to be perfect. Not close, but really
perfect. When you're putting an album like this together, really a compilation of greatest hits, whatever you want to call it, I felt like this album had two really important songs, the opening track and the closing track, in terms of how they set up the album and how you finish the album, and finishing in a way that makes you want to go back to the beginning again and listening. Do you see, when you're not creating your own music and you're putting a compilation record like this together, are those two songs the most important songs in the overall design of the album?
When I'm making own music, I'm just thinking songs as individual songs. I don't really think about doing an album. I'm just making songs one by one. And I usually don't like to make concept albums of any kind. So I'm just making good songs one by one. And when there's enough ready, 10 songs or 11 songs, then there's an album there. And then we just start to think about the track listing, in which order the songs are going to be. But I usually don't think the process and album production. I'm just making songs one by one.
When it comes to album music, in your perspective, in your point of view, what makes their music so timeless?
Of course, songs are good. They're well written. There are good melodies, good lyrics. But also the production is just awesome. I mean the sound, the feeling. They are using, for example, old synthesizers, because nowadays it's all more and more digital. The sound is more digital, also in keyboards. But in back then, the keyboards were analog synthesizers, and the sound is different in those vintage machines. So I think even the synthesizer sound might be one of the key elements in their whole sound. Also, they have excellent singers there. I think that all the elements are really polished, everything. And I know that they were lots of rehearsals with their band, and they did a lot of versions before they put the music out. So they worked really hard with those songs. I think they work harder than the bands of today. Nowadays, I think many bands just make one version of the song and they just record it right away. But I know that Abba used to make several versions of the same song, even 10 or 15 versions of the song. They tried different tempos, they tried different keys, different arrangements, and they didn't put it out until they were really happy with the results. They were. I think that might be one of the key elements. They worked really hard with those songs and really used a lot of time arranging those songs.
You mentioned Capri's vocals. How did you guys approach vocally this album in terms of bringing her to a place that allows her voice to blend in with the overall Abba experience?
Capri is quite interesting singer. She's a professional singer and she's able to do so different kind of styles. She can change her sound. She can sound like somebody else when she's singing. So when she's recording stuff, she doesn't really need guidance, She just do her thing behind the mic. Her emotions are enormous. She really lives in the moment when she's singing, and she becomes part of the song. There's so strong emotion when she's singing. It's outstanding. That's why she doesn't need so much guidance, and she just do it. And when she sings Abba, she becomes Abba singer,
So is her tone and delivery a tool that makes the process for you guys when it comes to making these songs easier then?
Yeah, of course it makes it easier. Also, when we started doing music with her, I've been doing a business with Mikko Mustonen, Mr. Mikko Mustonen. He's been kind of co-producer with us for maybe 10 years. When we started to work with Capri and Mikko, me and Mikko were so, we were excited about her capabilities, but we were also surprised about her skills because there seems to be no limits. She can do absolutely anything. And at some point, we just wanted to see how far she can go, and we made her sing different kind of stuff, different kind of styles, and we were just amazed. Wow, there's no limits. She's absolutely amazing singer.
It's really interesting because when I was listening to the record, I was playing it, and my wife walked in the room, and she said to me, "Wow, you're listening to Abba today?" She not even realized it was a cover. She actually thought was Abba. So I think that's a huge compliment for what you guys did, not only from a musical point of view, but also from a vocal point of view. Did you want these songs to be as close to the original as possible, or was your hope to still somehow find room to make them a little bit of your own?
Both. We wanted to keep some of the parts original, like the vocals. We wanted vocals to be as close to the original as possible. But otherwise, we added our own elements, like guitar parts and bass lines. They were different. So it's kind of combination of our own and original.
When will we see you guys, now stepping a little bit away from this record, maybe looking into the future, when will we see you guys release a new album full of new material?
Let's see. I haven't really started working with new songs yet. I have some rough demos, maybe some ideas there and there, but I haven't really started working with the new album yet. So, and also at the moment, I am just still in the middle of the releasing process, and all my thoughts are still in this album. So I don't think I'm able to think freely for a while. You know, I need to be in the right moment, right? You know, you have to feel it right. You have to be in the certain, how do you say? I don't know the words.
You have to be in the zone.
In the zone, yeah, that's the thing. So because musicians are not machines, like many people have asked me that, why didn't you make more music when was this COVID break? You had 2 years time and you just made one cover album. Why? Well, I'm not machine, you know. I can't go on and off writing music just like that. Now you have time, make song. It doesn't work that way. You have to be in the right mood. Otherwise, it's no sense making music. So I don't know about the future yet, because I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow, in the next week or something. But I'm quite confident that I need to start working with new music in the beginning of next year, because I don't want to let our fans down. It wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair to keep them waiting for too long. So I think I start eventually doing some music, and it's even possible to put it out even during next year. But let's see. Everything is open.
Well, for now, you're not disappointing anybody. They can go listen to this record and enjoy a great album that you guys put together. And I have one last question for you. We all know about the rivalry between Sweden and Finland. Is Abba the great unifier that brings these two nations together?
Yeah, that's true. There's been history between Sweden and Finland. Of course, we are living next to each other, but I think we are in good terms with the Swedish people. We don't hate each other. In fact, I think we secretly love each other. And
there's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, but Abba is something which brings also many other people together. I think most of the metal people also like to listen to metal Abba music, but maybe all of them who don't want to tell it, you know, in public, might be a little ashamed about. But I know that many people, at least if you're thinking about metal music of 80s and 90s, the style, it's melodic music, Iron Maiden, Halloween. Those all people have been influenced by Abba, that's for sure.
Well, I have a great idea for you. The next time Sweden plays Finland at the World Championships in hockey, you guys can play one of your songs, but an Abba cover. So that way you kind of bring, you know, both worlds together as one.
Sounds like plan.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Tuomas, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on this record. It was so much fun to listen to. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys did this, because I've been seeing you guys releasing a cover here and there, but it was time for us to get a full-length album out of it. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It was really nice talking with you.
Take care. All the best.
Bye-bye. Take care.